Hello and welcome to our fourth lecture. It is my pleasure to have you with me. Today we go straight into actually dealing with the report itself, preparing the report, getting it done. As you know, the report is template based. In other words, there are templates which you have to use and fill out the information as requested in those templates. For this 2014 reporting, there are 8 different templates. One for the ACP, which is affected country parties, one for developing country parties, one for the SRAP reporting, one for the RAP reporting, one for the UNIGO reporting, one for the GF, one for the Secretariat, and of course one for the GM. All these are different templates for these different reporting entities. Now, however, you must know that in any template, for example, the ACP, the affected country party template, that one template would have all the questions that the affected country party is supposed to answer. In other words, if you're an affected country party, you don't need to look at the DCP template, or you don't need to look at the Secretariat template, or the GF template. No, you don't need to do that. You need to look only at your template, because on your template are all the questions that you are expected to answer. So that is important. Secondly, it must be noted that the templates are in all languages. When I say all languages, I don't mean all the languages of the world. I mean all of the official languages of the United Nations, which are 6, of course. Now, I wanted to deal with the templates directly and the indicators within those templates, how all of this worked. And as you know, there are 18 indicators, 18 consolidated indicators for the operational objectives. These are called performance indicators. Now, no one can deal with 18 in one lecture. This is only one lecture. So I will only use 2 examples. My 2 examples would be Consolidated Indicator 1 and Consolidated Indicator 5. However, I would focus here on the ACP countries, meaning the affected country parties, because for 2 reasons. Firstly, a lot of these countries are developing country parties and need much more support as regards capacity. Secondly, these are 2 indicators which broadly, most if not all, of the reporting entities would have to deal with in one way or the other. Now, so let us deal with a template for the ACP countries. If you look at the template, all of the indicators, they have a basic structure, generally speaking. That basic structure has 4 parts. The first is the performance indicator. This performance indicator, if you look at it carefully, it will tell you to what operational objective it relates to. That's the first thing. In other words, it will tell you whether it's operational objective 1 or 5 or whatever. Secondly, the second part of that consolidated indicator will deal with financial flows. This, as you know, deals with the finances you have for the reporting, the finances you have for implementation. The third part of the template deals with something called additional information, which is information that you additionally want to offer, in particular as regards resources. And finally, it deals with submission. Okay, so those are the 4 broad areas that you would find on an ACP template, regardless of the indicator. Now, as I said, I want to use 2 examples as regards indicators. And as I've said before, these indicators relate to specific operational objectives. Now, firstly, let us deal with Consolidated Indicator 1. As you can see, this on the template has a specific structure. Firstly, it gives you the name and the related operational objective. So it says, this is the name of the indicator and it is related to operational objective so and so. Secondly, it tells you what is the global target. Now, as you would know, the global targets were established in accordance with the 10-year strategy, and they were concretely determined in Decision 13, Cop 9. Then it deals with something called a national contribution to the target. Now the global target is what we hope to achieve globally, taking all the countries together. The national contribution is what your particular country contributes to that global target. And if you look carefully, you would see it clearly states the year. So it's not just your contribution overall, but your contribution in this particular period. Right now we're dealing with the year 2013, 2014. Then it deals with what is called the voluntary national target. The voluntary national target is what you voluntarily determine is a target which should be higher than the national contribution. Okay? And then the template deals with, this consolidated indicator, deals with information events. So, because as you know, this consolidated indicator deals with awareness raising and education. And on the template, it asks you about the information events you carried out. But it doesn't just ask you that, it goes further. The next section asks you, what are the sources of information? In other words, we don't just want you to say, oh, we had 3 million events. Tell us how you know that. Tell us where you get that information from. And then it deals with qualitative assessment. So let's take the whole picture now of this consolidated indicator. As you can see here, you have all of these sections, right? And if you follow it logically, it is easy to fill out. What is important for you to know is that in each of these sections here, the information you provide is what would be used to review the implementation process. And so therefore, these particular sections, each section where you have to provide information is crucial. So this is what Consolidated Indicator 1 on an ACP template looks like. And the areas that I pointed out is where you will have to provide concrete information. Now, I would like to use a second example. That second example is Consolidated Indicator 5. And it has the very same structure. As you would notice, name, global target, all of these things. The structure is the very same. So what is different? The difference is the information. That's the difference. You see, while all of the consolidated indicators have the same structure, name, source of information, etc., etc., what is different is the information. And because the information is different, it might also mean that the source of information could be different. And the assessment, of course, would not be the same as for Consolidated Indicator 1. So what you do see here, therefore, is that you have two consolidated indicators, Indicator 1 and Indicator 5, right? And basically, look at the template, it says there, they are the same in terms of structure. And they follow the same logic, the same sequence, but the information is different. And this is why when you are filling out these templates, you need to look very, very carefully at these issues. Two issues. Firstly, what is the information required? That is key. What is it really asking you for? Okay? And secondly, where can you get that source of information? Where can you find that source of information? In other words, where does the information come from? And thirdly, of course, how you assess that information. This is where the difference lies. The type of information, in other words, the content, okay, the source might be different, and of course the assessment. So those are three things that make them different. But overall, all of the indicators follow the same structure. All of them, without exception. And then there's a section on additional information. What this is really concerned with is about financial resources, human resources, scientific and technological knowledge that you may need for the reporting process. In other words, this is concerned with the things that additionally you think are important, in particular as regards resources, to effectively carry out the reporting process. Also, it deals with the issue of participation because, as you know, the UNCCD is a bottom-up approach, has a principle of bottom-up approach, and the reporting process should really be an all-inclusive process as far as possible. So that is what the additional information area truly covers. And finally, there's submission. As you can see, submission deals with who is the reporting officer, what is the name, and so on, and what is his email. This is important because this is a national document. This is an official document. And the Secretariat and the process as a whole needs to know that. So while it's a formality, it's an important formality because it's only when that information is there we can say that this is truly an official report. Thank you again. And as I said, please read the additional materials and remember that the capacity building team is here to help you. And in particular, I want you to remember that we have the help desk, which is that you can go there, click on that, and any question you have as regards the reporting process, you send it to the help desk and you will get a response within 48 hours guaranteed. Thank you and enjoy the rest of this exercise.